treat with those. The residential structures that are destroyed, it couldn't be expected that the government will assist in the rebuilding and reconstruction of 150,000 homes. There are some Jamaicans who already have rebuilt their homes in terms of putting on their roofs, and they're not waiting on government. And they're going to go ahead, and they may not have it. They might very well be, poor persons who just don't have it, but they are independent people, and they're just not going to wait on government. They're going to go ahead and do what they can. And then there are those who simply do not have the resources to rebuild. And the government will have to assist in that. They simply just don't have it. So you have the two extremes. Those who are independent and who will move ahead, and those who are completely dependent on the resources of the state to assist. And then there are some in the middle who have some of it, but they need government's help to get them along the way. So that gives you the kind of shape as to how government will respond. For those who have it and are going to independently repair their homes, repair their businesses, government must not stand in the way. Accelerated processes for the rebuilding. For those who need partial help and support, we will have to have a system in place where the cases are properly assessed and there is a mechanism that provides the assistance. And then for those who definitely can't do it, don't have any support, then we will also have to consider, in addition to the rebuilding support, we have to consider some relief support for them. So in the first phase, the goal is to quickly stabilize households and make damaged homes livable with longer-term rebuilding plans, while longer-term rebuilding plans are put in place. And so this will include distribution of shelter kits, heavy-duty tarpaulins, shrink-wrap roofing solutions, and emergency repair materials. And that will be provided to those persons who, by our assessment, we know they definitely cannot rebuild. That assessment is underway. The Minister of Labour and Social Security has reported to me that they have done just over 16,000 assessments across the island so far. So they have a little way to go, but we're going to ramp up, as I said earlier, the core of assessors so that we can do this very rapidly. But remember when I spoke of the supply chain that JDF has established? We're going to use this supply chain to bring the materials in and to distribute them to those who are needed, in need. So it's a repurposing of the supply chain, as I had said, to now go and do this level of rebuilding and supporting the relief. We have examined pre-built, containerized modular solutions, and we have settled in our minds that this is appropriate for the Jamaican situation that we now have. There are different types, different versions, and so I've met with the NHT, and the NHT has provided us with a solution that they are presently working on. At a later stage, we'll go into more details. But the plan is for, in the initial phase, for the NHT to purchase 5,000 container homes. And those will be, some of them will be for sale. So with a program with the NHT. you will be able to purchase. Some of them will be used to build housing schemes, which you can purchase. And a portion of them will be made available through social housing. The government itself will also be purchasing some of these containerized housing solutions, which will be made available through the social housing modality. So effectively, we have to do a rapid deployment of housing solutions. And the easiest way to do this is to use the containerized solutions. They do take some time to arrive in Jamaica. There's just certainly not the quantity to make an impact. So we have met and discussed it. We have taken the policy decision that these can be used. And so the process of acquiring them through the procurement process, they have been given the approval to move ahead with that. So that should start in short order. You know, we are not going to get them here for Christmas. I just have to be frank with everybody. But we should start to see some coming in by late January. And those that come in initially, we are going to be looking at the worst cases assessed to make them available. For Christmas and for the initial stages, we're going to have to try to do the shelter repair kits, the heavy-duty tarpaulins, and those kinds of solutions, in addition to the rebuilding, the actual putting on roofs and so forth, as much of that as we can in the coming weeks leading up to Christmas. But the containerized solution does take some time. The shipping is between 30 to 90 days, just that alone. Then there is some procurement and other administrative and bureaucratic things that might take up the time. So we're really trying to cut it as quickly as possible, as short as possible. But even with the best efforts, there may be some challenges. Yes, the government will give rebuilding grants. I cannot say how much those will be or the categories right now. I mean, we have decided on the category. The burial framework will apply: minor, moderate, and severe. But that needs an assessment. And so that's what is kind of holding us up, why we can't pay yet. Now, we're not going to wait until we have assessed every single house. But we do need to reach a critical threshold where we begin to see how the damage is stacking up from a statistical point of view. So we know how much to allocate for minor repairs, how much to allocate for moderate repairs, and how much to allocate for severe. And we actually need the report so that we can establish the threshold. What exactly is minor? What exactly is moderate? And what exactly range is severe? So we're not yet at that threshold. I suspect by the time we reach 30,000 assessments, you would start to see the kind of repetitive nature of the damage, and so you can establish what the thresholds are. So we should get to 30,000 very, very soon, based upon the work that ODPEM is doing in expanding its core and coordinating, and the work already being done by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the reconstruction of Jamaica. Like most, when the disaster struck, I said, wow, how are we going to manage this crisis? But as you start to delve into it, yes, it is a challenge. Yes, it is a crisis. But it is also an amazing opportunity.